Welcome back to the channel. This is Will the Gamer, and this is a bonus episode of The Last of Us Part 2, and we're just gonna go through the making of. Um, I've recorded so many episodes today, and I'm just so excited to be done. Not that I had a poor experience. I had so much fun doing this. Um, I mean, it was so fun being able to play these games again, and I can watch me playing it. I don't have to go through these games, and I can just hear myself talk, which would be very weird for me. But anyway, um, it has developer commentary and introduction videos. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna keep the introduction video on just for copyright reasons. I think I just want to play the levels.
You're about to play an unfinished level from The Last of Us Part 2. The reason we added this
We're gonna skip the cinematic. I don't know if that's going to be copyrighted or not, but I will definitely cut that out. Um I don't need a huge copyright for that. But
Originally, this level was going to transition us to farm. We would go all the way through to the dance, where Ellie and Dina share their first kiss. Then we would play through farm, and when Ellie plays the guitar at night, she would remember the Seth incident. So, the opening for this was a little tricky. We needed it to match at least a little what you might expect emotionally coming from prior beats, because we were already purposefully disorienting you in time and space. Remember, you just came from this huge fight. To jump straight into it would have been a little too jarring. After some back and forth, we rooted it in Ellie's nerves, calling back to her hands shaking in the theater. But this time, for a much more innocuous reason we'll find out later. She's nervous because she has a crush on Dina, who is the only reason why she's here at the dance.
fair.
Something we really wanted to do was highlight the way their lives had turned upside down since she went down this path. We had this idea of recontextualizing all of our usual gameplay mechanics that were designed for really violent ends. The workbench, door bashes, throwable weapons, and even the infected, which is my personal favorite. Peppered throughout the level are moments of levity or shared history, all the while seeing how happy and mundane they all were before her huge revenge odyssey. It is not a festival without one of these throwing games. This one, of course, uses our throwable system where you're often chucking explosive things or stunning things, but for a more wholesome purpose, although some people take this game really seriously. A fun
I take
aspect
this
of
game
this
really
is when you did
serious.
well, you could win a toy here. Ellie would place it in her pocket. If you had done this, you'd find the toy with JJ, the baby, later back at the farm. When we cut this, the toy made it through anyway because it was so cute. It is the same one you see on the tractor at the farm. Ollie the elephant.
All right, so I don't do well. That's fine.
This is one of my favorite sections because I think that it achieves both the slice of life aspect of Jackson while also being a stark reminder of how dark the world that they live in really is. To attract attention and curiosity, one of the kids was supposed to make this adorable, messed up little clicker impression, and the others would giggle. We tried a version where if you got close enough, the kid might try and follow you a little before turning back. Since clickers are blind and move by echolocation, for this game of messed up tag, Ellie must close her eyes and listen for when the children give themselves away. The thought was that these kids are in relative safety. They still grow up with the dangers of clickers and runners, and all those lessons would embed themselves in the games that they play. When the festival got cut, they tried to preserve this moment and move it to the front of the game where the snowball fight is, as a tutorial. However, being in the headspace of a clicker doesn't really teach you how to deal with them. Eventually, it evolved, and they instead made the snowball fight, which was, I think, way more effective. For me, it's character illuminating that not only does Ellie know this game, she plays along. There's a familiarity with the kids that's really nice to see, especially because it's such a difference from the Ellie we see later, who has a sort of hollow normalcy that she's trying to get with JJ, but kind of fails. The makeup artist is pretty simple. It's one of those little in-game scenes we peppered in to make it feel like Ellie had roots in the town. Hallie, our writer, mentioned that in her mind, an ex-girlfriend of Ellie's tattooed her arm to cover up her scar. So we figured this might be the only time you get to see that. We wanted to hint at it and allude to it and make it feel like there had been so much more that had been happening and so much more that Ellie threw away.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's fine. Alright, so we have another one all the way over yonder. Let's sit here real quick. See what we got. Alright, let's move. The music kind of concerns me a little bit
There's a
because you
hidden
can still
spot at
hear
the
it.
back that was just a bit of fun. It was highlighting Jackson's normalcy with something we would find in a real world. In the back, you would find teenagers finding some alone time with each other in a dark corner of a party. It was rewarding the player for peeking into a hidden corner, but ultimately redirecting them back to the festival. We also had versions of them smoking weed here, despite Maria's consternation, probably having gotten it from Eugene.
There's some more stuff over here. Yeah, cool. So these I kind of missed.
We use our workbench a lot to make a lot of things that kill and maim and hurt people. Here, we had the silly idea of using the same feel, harkening back to the same animations, using the exact same UI to instead fix a drink. Like the workbench, you could pick your base, and then you could add something to it. And at the time, we had some different reactions from Ellie based on how strong you chose to make the drink. Something we wanted to prototype though, before it got cut, was picking up some ingredients around to add, like a lime or maybe a bottle of someone's favorite whiskey or salt, like you were earning upgrades. We also toyed with having Ellie carry around the drink you made and occasionally sip it, psyching herself up to go talk to Dina inside because she's nervous. It got too noodly though, because she would need to keep placing it somewhere before she did anything, so it would have ended up more trouble than it was worth.
Tommy. Alright, that was cool. So now we got another. Let's not do the introduction, just in case. Yeah. Oh, okay. I know where this is, obviously. I wonder if it actually makes us. Yeah, it does. Alright. Hey, it's the knife that she no longer has. So we see this part. She hits her head, I think, at some point. I think she already hit her head, actually. Nope. I think that's where she hit her head.
Okay. Okay.
Shit. And kind of go along this here.
Fuck Seattle.
Could say that again.
Okay.
This level, internally
Where the
known as
hell am I?
Find Nora, was quite long in duration as we had to make Ellie traverse a far distance to the opposite side of downtown Seattle. The sewer section was originally longer than what we released the game with, approximately 10 minutes more. This was one of the few areas of the game that used water flow as part of a traversal puzzle. The player has to go upstream to use the current to get to the platform to reach the other side. We mostly cut this mechanic game-wide, however it remained in essence in the section swimming to the aquarium as Ellie when you were avoiding the waves. When players reach the doorway and enter into the room, they are faced with a dead
What
end.
have we got here?
The real reason for this dead end room is that on the reversal when exiting back out of the doorway, players are faced with the route onwards. a pipe that they'd not been able to see when they were swept past it on the way in, and something that was hidden from view when on the side platforms. The intention here being that the only option is to go off the standard path in order to search for a way out.
There's one over here as well. Here we go. Oh no, jump over.
The ladder acts as an immediate goal for the player, but being able to climb out is not going to be so easy. To keep levels interesting and engaging, we alternate between positive and negative values the player experiences. Here, it's a positive to have found a ladder, but then a negative to discover it's not the solution. But then another positive to identify the next short-term goal of the doorway. By alternating between these opposing values, we give players what they expect, but not how they expect it.
Okay. So depending on how well this goes with the music, so I'm obviously gonna have to take out the music from the last little
Get me the hell out
chapter
of here.
thing. I'm definitely
Throughout the
gonna
rest of the
see if
level,
this
we
is
also use
postable.
light to indicate to the player that they were heading in the right direction. At each turn, however, we block the direct route forward. Players would know that they just have to keep finding alternative paths, promoting those feelings of being desperate and trapped. We slowly introduce the player to consider climbing into smaller pipes and crouching in these tight spaces.
Up
This
and
is to
out.
slowly build up to and encourage
going up and
the
out.
player to climb into such a small pipe that they'd have to be crawling on their stomach, which is something that the player previously may not have recognised as a playable space, let alone the desired route they need to take. We added a tiny space just to reward the player's exploration with a pickup item, and we made sure it was something that made sense that you'd find in this area. A canister and all the garbage that had been washed into the sewers from the surface.
Where? I don't see anything.
We loved the idea of making Ellie prone through a tiny dirty pipe in order to get out, as it was a great opportunity to use our prone mechanic. A unique camera setup was created to support crawling in these pipes, as the standard prone camera is much higher above the player. We also created custom collision in order for Ellie to manoeuvre in these tight spaces easily. Initially, the oblong collision capsule around her character caused issues crawling around corners. We put extra effort into the custom corner collision so the movement experience is as smooth as the main game.
Okay. Perfect. Let's climb through.
Don't lose your shit, Ellie.
Lose your shit, man. Oh, sorry, I see an exit there. Perfect.
In order for the player to feel cramped, claustrophobic and desperate, we'd been enforcing the traversal mechanics that allow for a tight environment which promote these feelings. We introduced the use of the squeeze through so that we can keep the player feeling enclosed and tight, but without repeating the same geometry. Here we change from low ceilings with wider walls to high ceilings and tight walls to change up the spatial pacing and keep the level from repeating itself.
Alright, should be able to go through here. This is very cramped. I would hate to be claustrophobic in here.
This guy.
Basically like Charlie Cutter from Uncharted 2. Perfect.
Originally, we had the waterline much higher here, so players had to swim through this tight tunnel. However, from watching user test feedback, it was occasionally causing people to discount the route entirely and turn back on themselves. So to avoid any risk of this happening in the final game, we present a lower water level so the tunnel is easy to see and commit to using. Although this isn't as impactful without the prone swim, it's the better decision as it means a smoother experience for the player with no backtracking frustration. As we surface from the water and over the crest of the slope, we reveal what is further in this tunnel. A clicker that has sprouted and fungus has grown on the sides of the pipe. It was great to see people who user tested this area becoming increasingly worried as we forced the player to squeeze past the fungus and inches away from the clicker's face, all the time not being sure whether the clicker might be alive or attack them. Although we aren't as cruel as to force a clicker attack in such close proximity, we do have a payoff for this moment. This clicker momentarily turned into Joel to show Ellie's PTSD from what happened to Joel at the start of the game. Ultimately, we decided to save this moment for the farm level, as it was more impactful there because it could become the centrepiece of that experience. Whereas in the sewers, we weren't able to make it as much of a narrative point and give it the breathing room and reaction time that it deserves, given the tight space. We draw the player towards this pipe, as it is seemingly the route out of the tight space. Fairly soon, it is obvious that this path is blocked. If the player goes all the way up to the bars that block the path, they are rewarded with a pickup, so this journey is a little wasted. It is important to encourage the player to try to progress along this path so that they would subtly be thinking of progress in this direction. We hint to the player that there is a bigger, new space beyond this pipe by showing the player the waterfall. This helps players consider the other route where they don't know how far the tunnel is or whether they'd make it.
I like the commentary in this. I'm not going to be talking as much because the last like 4 episodes I've been talking so much. So, just gonna chill, let them talk. Oh shit. Yeah, that is kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh shit!
Honestly, I feel like having Joel pop up more than once in that kind of scenarios is good. I mean, at least we get to see him more often than not. There's like a little section over here. Hold on. All right. There's hold on, a way to get over there. Same way. Looks a tad bit different, but it's the same.
Using this pipe was retained in the iteration we shipped with, as it's the last of the extreme methods Ellie has to undergo in order to escape the sewers, and what she will go through in her pursuit of revenge.
Nice. I think I got all of them. No, I missed one. What's that? I definitely missed that. Hold on.
For the final section, we eventually opened you out into a wider area as you traverse through such tight spaces leading up to this, so changing the environmental pacing makes it begin to feel like we're coming to the end of Ellie's ordeal. An earlier iteration used the current that we'd shown at the start for a slightly tougher traversal puzzle to conclude the sewers. The ladder was clearly visible from most of the area, but the player was faced with a fast-flowing torrent of water they couldn't cross. If the player attempted to jump into the water, they were not able to swim across the ladder due to the water's speed. But instead, they had to traverse the pipe running along the top of the space in order to get across the water. This is the first time we get to see stalkers that are embedded into the walls. So this optional room is a nice little early extra that the player gets if they explore. We also use the pickups to lure players over to be close enough to trigger the stalker's attack. This caused quite a few jump scares with user testers who played our game before its release.
Definitely caught me off guard. Made me, clench my butt a little bit. Alright. This might actually be longer than the last episode. Actually, no, it will. Definitely. Alright, so we listened to that one already. I'm like, we missed a couple. But we're good now. We've caught up. We can drop back down here.
The last ladder climb is quite lengthy, and although we could have trimmed it down to a shorter climb, we liked how this last segment of the journey built anticipation for whether there was success at the top or not after all you've been through. Ultimately, the ladder exits out into the subway station, which is how it connects in the final game. Ellie then has to find her way to the hospital from here, crossing paths with the scars for the first time.
Up and out. You know what they say? Ichimo. Alright. Let's see what we got here.
So the boar hunt was one of the hardest levels for me to work on. It was a huge challenge with the systems that we had, and we kept trying, but it never felt quite right. Originally, the level happened after the Jackson Festival, which also got cut, but before Farm. Once the festival got cut, it became the prologue to Farm. The intended experience is that we jump forward in time after the fight with Abby in the theater. We don't know where Dina is. We likely assume she's dead because she was just bleeding out. Ellie is alone. Her hair is short. So maybe this is the future or the present. And she's hunting. Hunting who? Abby still? In early iterations of the fight, it was more arena-like. The player slowly whittles down the boar's health. Ellie gets more visceral and more vicious. We get a little worried about her. As the boar gets weaker, more panicked, more feral, and we start feeling sympathetic to the boar was the hope. In all of these iterations, especially of these wider areas, it required custom AI and scripting to make sure it continued to feel organic as an animal, but we really needed it to do specific stuff. It needed to be able to close distances really, really quickly. It needed to charge to attack, but we wanted the feeling of hunting, so we needed to track it down from afar. And we also needed to discourage the player from attacking the boar when it's that close, or it would kind of turn into this melee kerfuffle. How do we do this in our world while keeping the boar believable? We must have gone through 5 or 6 iterations of the boar fight and all, and every single time it changed pretty drastically. We split it into clear phases, where one was like all long range. We tried another where you're getting close and you get the jump on it quite literally. You're jumping off of a rock to attack it. And then finally, we tried a bunch where you almost sort of go around a bunch of trailers and try and wrestle it. We uncovered after some time that taking down a boar over several phases felt very laborious and a little dramatic. It was comically long, it felt too boss-like, a little too gamey. We decided to cut the first few phases, and we opted for a cold open after the boar had already been hurt off-screen. So that allowed us to focus on feeling like we're closing in on prey and to introduce the boar when it was at its most dangerous. Already hurt, already feral, much too close for comfort. And so the thinking was it would bring us more into Ellie's mindset. Is this really hunting for food, or is she hunting for some other reason? The gas station was built to highlight the boar's destructiveness. Since it's cramped, the boar feels larger. We also feel trapped with it, though perhaps it's trapped with us. When it charges, it gets to us quickly, so we must be on our toes. This made it more aligned with Ellie's sort of hunting for trouble mindset. Listening became more important, as well as moving around slowly so it didn't hear you. Could you spot it before it saw or heard you? And could you get a shot off quickly enough so you could dodge out of the way? Or is the shot worth the cost after? It feels like a gamble. By the end of the fight, everything would likely be in shambles. The boar would burst through the back, and Ellie would follow it and finally enact revenge.
Got you.
I think it's gonna track me now.
It's over. Nowhere to run. You're
The
done.
boar kill was supposed to be anything but glorious. With the
I didn't get to listen to that last one. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to just skip all the way to the last one, take out the boar, and listen to it. because I didn't think it would just cut off like that.
Where are you?
So yeah, this was pretty interesting.
I lose it.
There were a couple ones I did not listen to, and I'm going the wrong way. Supposed to be following blood. And I did not do that this time. There we go.
There it is.
I think I can hear it off in the distance. I'm really excited to see if they end up doing another game. Um,
Gotcha.
I just really, really like playing this series. And it would be nice to do this and just be surprised, by anything that comes up instead of kind of knowing what will happen. I mean, this time around, I was a little surprised because I didn't really know what order it would happen in.
I can't see
So,
shit.
alright. Some of these I actually really wish they kept in.
Got you.
Got it.
Nowhere
Nice.
to run.
Let's board it up. Did you loot in here if you wanted to? Alright, let's just
The boar
listen to
kill
this.
was supposed to be anything but glorious. With the boar whimpering at the back of the gas station after Ellie's relentless hunt. After this, hearing the drone that we kind of come to associate with Ellie's trauma, we would hard cut to the stream where she's washing her hands and holding rabbits that she hunted, about to return to Dina. And there would be no mention of the boar.
Cool. This would kind of explain her attitude when she got back. She kind of seemed a little off by the time she came back and spoke to Tommy. All right. Well, that's it. Um, we're going to be deleting this game now. It's been real fun. Um, we will see if we're able to take out the music from the party section, the festival, and if we are, this will get posted. If not, you'll figure that out, and when I start Fallen Order, I'll mention it. But for now, I am done recording for the day. It's been a long night, and I want to go to sleep now. Got work tomorrow. It's already 12:24, and I have not relaxed yet. But shoot, another Naughty Dog game down. Favorite game company, and I'm happy to be able to play these. Um, that's it for me. This is Will the Gamer, and this is the bonus episode, and we'll see if we post it. Peace.